Hello guys, welcome back to my channel Yamako Yufin. Xiao Jingni opened her eyes to the sound of birds chirping and the smell of smoke. For a moment, she was confused. The last thing she remembered was the cold steel of the guillotine touching her neck. She remembered the angry shouts of the crowd calling her a wicked woman. But now, she was lying in her soft bed, and the sun was shining through the window. She realized she had traveled back in time. She was back on the morning when her life first started to fall apart. She sat up and looked at her hands. They were small and soft. The hands of a young girl, not the scarred hands of the woman who had lost everything. She knew what was happening outside. Her family's territory was being attacked. In her past life, she had panicked and run away. But this time, she was going to stay and fight. But first, she had to deal with the person in the dungeon. In the dark, cold cell under her manor, a young man was sitting on the floor. His name was Liang. He was covered in dirt and mysterious writings that looked like magical tattoos. In the future that Jingni lived through, this man would become the Lord of Moda, a powerful and scary villain who helped the world's hero destroy her family. He was her greatest enemy. But right now, he was just a boy. Jingni walked down into the dungeon. The air was damp and smelled like old stone. She reached the cell and looked at him. Liang looked back at her. His eyes were sharp, like a wolf, but he didn't say anything. Jingni thought about her grandfather, a man of great honesty who was murdered by nobles. She thought about her hero mother, who was assassinated after coming home from war. She thought about her handsome father, who was caught and destroyed by enemies. She realized that the hatred in the world started somewhere. Maybe if she showed kindness to this boy, he wouldn't become the monster who killed her. She took the key and opened the cell door. "You are free," she said. Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing. Li Yang stood up slowly. He was taller than he looked while sitting. He walked toward her, and for a second, Jingni wanted to run. He stopped just inches away from her face. "Why?" he asked. "Because the world is already full of too much blood," she replied. She let him go, but her heart was still heavy with fear. 4 days passed. Jingni tried to focus on fixing her territory, but she couldn't stop thinking about Li Yang. Curiosity and fear are very similar feelings. She found herself walking back to that dungeon cell, even though it was empty. To her shock, when she arrived, Li Yang was sitting there again, inside the cell, as if he had never left. "My lovely palace maid, we meet again," he said with a playful smile. Jingni was stunned. She wasn't a maid, she was the lady of the house, but she was dressed simply to work. She realized he was teasing her. But beneath his playful words, she could see the danger. He was like a puppy that could turn into a wolf at any second. "I told you to leave," she said. Liang leaned against the bars. "Are you just going to let me go like that? Or do you want to play a game of cat and mouse?" He knew she was afraid of him, and he liked it. Jingni didn't back down. She told him that she knew his secret. She knew he was a high-ranking member of the Moda organization. She told him to get out before she changed her mind. But Li Yang was a madman. He had a habit of collecting things, especially unusual prey. He had heard the rumors about the cursed princess of this land, and he was hooked. He didn't want freedom anymore. He wanted to see what she would do next. The next morning, at dawn, he showed up at the front gate of her manor. "I heard you're recruiting nurses and staff. I think I'm a good fit," he announced. Jingni was in a trap. If she kicked him out, he might become the villain who hates her. If she kept him, she was living with a tiger. She decided to keep him close. She told the servants he was a noble guest who was staying to help. The servants loved it. They started gossiping immediately. They said the young lady and the handsome guest were a match made in heaven. Xiao Jingni could only clench her fists in silence. They only saw a handsome boy. She saw a future murderer. During a big family meeting, things became very tense. The elders of the family who had served her grandfather were arguing. They wanted Jingni to take the throne, but the emperor was delaying his approval. The Duke Roslin was also making things difficult. As Jingni walked into the meeting room with Liang behind her, the room became cold. Jingni's family curse was strong. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her chest and her legs became weak. She started to fall. The air seemed to freeze. The elders looked away, not wanting to see their lady fall and be embarrassed. But Li Yang didn't look away. He moved like lightning. He caught her before she touched the floor and gently lifted her, carrying her to her seat. It was a show of power. Every person in that room saw that Li Yang was strong and that he was protecting her. It sent shockwaves through the manor. The next morning, Jingni had to solve another problem. She needed better weapons for her guards. In this world, there is a terrible problem: monster blood. When a soldier hits a monster with a sword, the blood is so acidic that it melts the metal. This made her family go bankrupt in the past because they were always buying new swords. Jingni remembered a legend about the frog shop. It was a small shop run by two sisters who knew a secret way to treat metal so it would never break. She took Li Yang with her to find it. The streets were very crowded. As they moved through the market, Li Yang suddenly vanished. Jingni was alone. Suddenly, a strange man came up to her. He said he knew where the young man went and led her toward the edge of the city. Jingni was alert. She had inherited her mother's warrior instincts. When the man tried to grab her, she broke free easily. She was ready to fight. But just as she was about to strike, Li Yang appeared from behind a building. He had been watching from the shadows the whole time. He wanted to see if she had secret magic. Instead of magic, Jingni used a weapon to sweep the man off his feet. With a quick snap of her fingers, the man fell into a deep sleep. Li Yang was impressed. He liked that she wasn't just a pretty princess. Please subscribe to this channel if you want to hear the rest of this amazing story. Your support helps me bring more content like this to you. They finally found the frog shop. The sisters who ran it were struggling because they were too honest. They didn't lie to their customers, so they didn't make much money. When Jingni told them she wanted to buy their weapons, they were shocked. But drama followed them. A pervert was caught spying on the girls in the shop. A girl with a giant hammer, known as the little black girl, tried to smash him. A crowd gathered and the pervert started lying, saying the girls were trying to cheat him out of his money. Public opinion turned against the girls. Jingni saw this and felt a fire in her heart. She remembered how the world turned against her in her first life. She disappeared for a moment and came back wearing a golden robe. She looked like a goddess of authority. She walked into the crowd with Li Yang and demanded an apology. A local earl arrived, and to everyone's surprise, he knelt down in front of Jingni. He called her palace maid, which was her disguise, but he treated her like the bad man was dragged away by soldiers, and the two sisters joined Jingni's team. Now Jingni faced a new crisis. Duke Roslin had convinced the emperor to stop sending priests to her land. This was a death sentence. Without priests, no one could heal the sick. Jingni remembered an alchemist from the east named Shen Tian. Alchemy was considered evil in the West, but Jingni knew it was the future. Shen Tian was obsessed with finding divine wine, a medicine that could cure anything. Jingni knew the recipe because her teacher in the past life had shown her. She sent a letter and a bottle of the wine to Shen Tian. The alchemist was so shocked by the quality that she packed her bags and came to the Western continent immediately. When they met, Shen Tian was surprised to see a little girl. Jingni offered her a deal. "I will give you the recipe for divine wine and a high salary if you build a hospital here." Shen Tian agreed. Now, Jingni had the best weapons and the best medicine. But Li Yang was getting restless. He was becoming very possessive and jealous. He didn't like how close Jingni was getting to Shen Tian or the other girls. When he was upset, he used his powers to teleport people into dark pits or hit them with invisible electricity. He even tried to use mind control on Jingni to see if she was hiding anything. To his absolute shock, it didn't work. Jingni was completely immune to his magic. This made him even more interested in her. He couldn't understand her. One evening, they sat together under the stars. Li Yang told her about his parents. He told her how his father had tricked him into a game, blindfolded him, and then just left him in the middle of a forest. He had waited for days, believing his father would come back. Jingni felt a deep pain for him. She reached out and gently stroked his face. "You were not stupid for waiting," she said. "You were just a child who deserved to be loved." In that moment, the villain Li Yang felt a strange feeling in his heart, something he had never felt before. Winter was coming, and the magic stones used for heating were becoming very expensive. The rival families were price gouging to make Jingni's people suffer. If they won't sell to us, we will mine our own, Jingni declared. She went to the government and bought several useless dungeons. People laughed at her, but Jingni had her memories. She knew these dungeons were full of rich magic stone mines. She started organizing her team to conquer the dungeons. Just as she was feeling successful, a massive explosion rocked her manor. Someone was trying to kill her. Someone was sabotaging her from the inside. Jingni looked out at the smoke and flames. She knew her battle was just starting. The hidden hand that killed her family in the past was still moving in the shadows. She had changed her fate. Thank you so much for listening to this full story. It really shows that kindness can change even the darkest heart. Xiao Jingni took a big risk, and it paid off. She went from a girl with no hope to a leader with a powerful army and the best technology in the empire. If you want to see the next part where they enter the dungeons and find the secret of the explosion, please subscribe to this channel, Yamako Yufin. I love sharing these stories with you and making them easy to understand. Please leave a comment below and tell me, do you think Liang really loves her, or is he just obsessed with her power? And if you were in Jingni's place, would you have released him from that cell? I will read every single comment. See you guys in the next video. Bye!